Good afternoon and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment hearings for Suburban Panel 2. We're a City of Ottawa quasi-judicial tribunal that holds public hearings to consider Planning Act applications, including minor variances to the zoning requirements and consent to sever land. Our hearings are now in person at Ben Franklin Place, 101 Centrepoint Drive. Thank you. And we also enable remote participation by video conferencing for our registered speakers. We are live streaming on YouTube, and the video will be archived and available for future viewing by the public. My name is Fabien Poulin. I'll be chairing today's hearings and you can address me by my name or as chair. And with me are my fellow panel members, George Barrett, Heather McLean, and Julianne Wright. The procedure for the hearings will be as follows. Listed on the agenda and appearing on the screen from time to time are the applications we'll hear today. For the sake of efficiency, I may deal with agenda items in a different order. Panel members have reviewed the planning reports and any written submissions in support or in opposition to each of the applications. Today, we'll hear any oral submissions relating to the applications. As part of the statutory public notification requirements, each applicant was required to post a sign on the property in question before the hearing. They also had to confirm in writing that they did so, or that they'll need to swear or affirm an oath today that they fulfilled the sign posting requirements. Otherwise, we may have to adjourn or postpone the hearing. The panel may ask for a brief presentation of an application, followed by questions for the applicant and the city planning staff. We will then hear from members of the public who will have registered to speak and may also have questions for them. Finally, the applicant who has the burden of proof will have the opportunity to make the final comments and reply. Please address your comments to me as the chair, starting with your name and spelling it if necessary, and your municipal address for the record. All presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Any exceptions will be at my discretion. At the end of the hearing, the panel may either make oral decision or may reserve our decision, which means it won't be delivered today. In either case, and within 10 days, the Committee of Adjustment will send the official written decision and reasons for it to all parties, participants, and anyone else who has requested a copy. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure we'll be following today? No questions. And we have a few applications here today, but we will deal firstly with some preliminary and procedural matters. Are there any declarations of interest from panel members? No declarations of interest. Are there any other requests or questions about procedure for today's agenda? No? Okay. All right, well, turning to the applications that are before us, we will first deal with some unopposed applications. We believe we have 2 unopposed applications.
Mr. Chair, we do have some adjournment requests.
Okay, we'll deal with those first. We have 3 adjournment requests, I believe. Item number 1, having to do with 343 Bradford. Mr. Jalkotzi, are you available? Good afternoon, sir.
Good morning. Good afternoon, panel and chair. My name's Chris Yalkotzi, 51 Rothwell Drive.
Okay. Now, sir, are you in agreement with the adjournment request?
Yes, I'm actually making the adjournment request. The staff have asked for a parking adequacy assessment, and we've had quite some discussion with staff, and this didn't come up until Friday in their report. So as a result, we would like to do that assessment. I've contacted transportation engineer, and they're going to be able to do that report within 2 weeks. And so that'll be available. We're seeking an adjournment for 4 weeks.
4 weeks from now. And when would that be, Mr. Coordinator or Madam Coordinator?
That would be December 12th.
Correct, Mr. Chair.
That's the planning. That's that timeline.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I couldn't hear.
I'm looking for your comments with respect to adjournment for 4 weeks for this application.
I think your mic is off, but if I'm correct, you're asking whether or not we are in agreement of the adjournment of the application.
Correct, for 4
Staff,
weeks.
yeah, the staff is okay with the adjournment for 4 weeks.
Okay. I'd now like to ask the panel if they are in agreement to adjourn this application for 4 weeks. All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ms. McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Yalkowski, you mentioned in your adjournment letter that there could be a redesign of the proposal. So I'm wondering whether or not it might be better to recirculate the application once we know what the final proposal is.
Mr. Chair, through you, the redesign would only take, there's a number of avenues of redesign. They would not redesign the building as a whole. We would be adding parking through what's called a pit parking approach, or we would be adding some parking underneath the building at the rear. So there's no significant change to the building at all. There'd be no change to the variances. We'd simply be adding some parking based on the parking adequacy assessment and other discussions we might have with the community.
But you'd be increased with a proposal to increase parking, so the variances would change, I would imagine.
The variances would be reduced in severity, right? So from that perspective, we really wouldn't require under normal circumstances additional recirculation.
Thank you.
Ms. Wright, any comment, any questions? Mr. Barrett? No, okay. So to that end, I'd like to ask the panel for adjournment of this application until December 12th at 2023. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Your application is adjourned till December the 12th. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Chair and panel.
The next application we have up for adjournment is application number 6, having to do with 5 Lotus. Jim Petrie, are you available? You may want to explain. So the adjournment is for another 4 weeks to be able to get the information that they need to proceed with. So the planning has the opportunity, just a moment, ma'am. The planning has the opportunity to review the changes that they're going to make. And if there's going to be any revised conditions, et cetera, will be presented at that time.
We do not agree with that because he did mention that he doesn't major changes.
Why don't you come on down and have to the front here.
If the agent could come back down too, please.
So you would be over here, ma'am. Could you state your name and your address, please?
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, that they're looking at visitors parking, and they're reanalyzing this. We have a lot of strong objections to the density because it does not meet the LC 772 zoning bylaw. And because of the location of this building, which is on a dead-end street, it has no turning area. We have cyclists and pedestrian walking in the middle of the street because there's no sidewalk. The street is 23 feet wide, and they come down from the Trans-Canada Trail onto our street. If they go ahead with the density they want to put there, it's we have single family homes on that block. We have a park in front. If they go ahead with what they want, this is a safety issue. And we want to explain this. And today we thought we would have the opportunity. We did a lot of research and we thought we'd have the opportunity to explain today. Right. And then giving them enough information that they could go back to the drawing board if they want. But right now they want to go back to the drawing board without hearing us out and without enough information.
Ma'am, so the whole point of this discussion right now is only to hear the proper application with all of its necessary backup to make a decision, for this panel to make a decision. Mr. Jalkowski is going to go away, and he said in his submission, he was going to consult with the community and see if there are other changes that need to be made at that time. So he did say that at the very end of his submission. So I take him at his word that he will meet with you. If you'd like to try and exchange numbers and emails, contact coordinates, maybe that would help in trying to get your information to him so that he can add it to with the things he's going to present on December the 12th. So his application will be more complete on December the 12th, that we can address it. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Just a moment. Yeah, if you'd like to come up, you can come up. Pardon? Yes, yeah. Right.
Hello, my name is Dale Gantis. I live at 221 Bradford Street. My question is, will the community see the revised proposal before the next committee of adjustment, including any changes to the design?
I think can I ask you to comment on that, Mr. Jalkowski?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We had a meeting about 6 weeks ago with the community association, 7 weeks ago with the community association. And subsequent to that meeting, we actually didn't have any further correspondence from them. We did inquire from them whether there would be some additional information that they might want to provide to us. And they said that they were going to present that at the committee hearing instead of providing us with that. We did flyer the community 2 weeks prior to the hearing. And in that flyer, we agreed that if people wanted to, we would arrange to have a public meeting. Neither of those aspects were taken up on, but I again open it up. We have a 4-week window here, a little more than that, actually 5 weeks. So we're open to have a Zoom call, and we will certainly, in the 2 weeks or at least a week prior, or a week and a half prior, provide the committee, obviously 2 weeks prior to the hearing, because I don't like to leave it late. We'll provide it to the committee. I'm assuming that that will then go up on the city's website. And at that point, anybody who wants to have access to it can find it. They also have my email address, and I'm prepared to, I'll wait outside. If people want to contact me directly, I'll provide my email address, and I'll arrange to have a Zoom call with anybody who wants to participate, and so that we can discuss this in a more full manner. But I really honestly, as I indicated to planning staff today, the submissions, I've read all of the submissions from the community, and from my perspective, there's a bit of a contradiction in the sense that on one hand, they're concerned about additional traffic. On the other hand, they don't feel there's enough parking. So,
okay. So Mr. Jalkowski, thank you. The whole purpose of our discussion right now is to discuss the adjournment.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the merits or the unmerits of the application at this time.
Agreed.
Okay, so if the public can meet with Mr. Jalkowski, discuss your concerns, lay them out for him. He said he would take them into consideration.
Okay.
I'll take him at his word for that. So that's what I'd like to try and do. So today we've adjourned this application till December the 12th, so that it can be a more full application and that we can make a decision on all of the evidence.
I had asked the question whether we would see the revised proposal. And the second thing is, I don't think a Zoom call will work in this instance because you see all the people here who have come. I think it should be an in-person meeting, and perhaps we can investigate doing it at the Britannia Yacht Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they will agree. Would you agree to that?
Mr. Chair, yes, I can agree to that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I
thank
hope
you.
that satisfies your concerns.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome. So this application is adjourned to December the 12th. Thank you very much. We're just waiting for the room to quiet down a little bit so we can continue with our meeting. Okay, moving on to the next application is up for adjournment. This address is 5 Lotus, and Mr. Petrie, Jim Petrie, are you available?
Jim Petrie is not available. I am from his office. My name is Shivani Kapre. I'm the applicant representing the owners at 5 Lotus Court.
Okay, are you in agreement with this application to be adjourned today, ma'am?
Sir, I'd request against the adjournment since the variance is of a minor nature, and there was a correction in the application which resulted in this adjournment, which we'd like to correct today.
Okay, so you'd like to proceed with this, hearing this application?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, I'd now like to ask Planning Services, Casca Ruzuro, to make a comment with respect to the proposed adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So during my review of the application, I did notice that there was a typo in the notice. In the notice, the notice said that the applicant was requesting a variance of to permit a rear yard of 23.3% of the lot area, or 79.6 square meters. And then it further went on to say, whereas the bylaw requires a rear yard area of 25% of the lot area, or 79.63 square meters. So the initial error that I caught was that both the requested and provided were listed as 79.63 square meters. So I determined that was actually a typo on the part of the committee clerks who prepared the notice. However, when I requested that the applicant actually confirm the rear yard area that they were requesting, they provided a smaller square meter area. So they actually said that the area of the rear yard that they were proposing was 68.6 square meters. So in their application, they'd actually requested something like 74 square meters. The typo reflected 79, but the actual rear yard area that they're seeking is I believe 68.6 square meters. So they are seeking greater relief from the zoning bylaw. I have not actually seen the area indicated on a site plan is prepared by the applicant, so I haven't been able to actually confirm it myself. I think it's okay, but I would like to see it on a site plan or something, that have the site plan updated to reflect the actual rear yard area that they're requesting. But bottom line is that they're requesting greater relief, or they require greater relief than what was initially requested. So I'm of the opinion that an adjournment recirculation is required.
I believe you're right, Ms. Cyril. How do I say your name? I'm sorry.
It's Sclazero.
Sclazero, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think the committee recognizes what you've said, that the requested variance is greater than the relief they originally sought, and as a result of that, it has to be recirculated. So I think that I'm going to ask the panel if they would like to adjourn this application, sine die, giving the applicant enough time to be able to recirculate this application. All those in favor of recirculation and adjourning this application, sine die, please raise your hands. I'm sorry, but Mr. Petrie's representative, I don't remember your name. I didn't write it down. I apologize.
Sorry, that sounds good. Yes, that's
okay.
fair. Thank you.
So we will be adjourning this application, sine die. All those in favor have already voted, so it will be adjourned, sine die. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's that one. And the last application we have up for adjournment is application number 7. This has to do with 3150, 3160, and 3170 Hawthorne Road. Mr. Thompson, Adam Thompson, are you available, sir? There you are.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Good afternoon. Are you aware of the request for an adjournment of this application?
Well, I know there's been talk of whether this application should be adjourned. I don't know if anybody specifically, other than panel members, have actually requested the adjournment. But we appreciate the application, since we're here 2 weeks ago, has changed as a result of some engineering review. And so the application, we feel, has been simplified, hopefully, down to the creation of one lot and one easement on the retained parcel. But we're in the committee's hands. We are prepared to present the application today if we're able to.
Okay, I'd like to ask our planning services representative Justin Griff to make a comment with respect to this application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Overall, planning doesn't have any major concerns. I think we just had a quick question with regard to part 10 on the draft 4R and whether that would also be part of the easement that would be to the benefit of the retained lot, but it was just something I was going to clarify with the agent here.
Is there a question or a comment for Mr. Thompson? Mr. Griff? Sorry. Oh, you're right here. Okay.
No, I haven't had any confirmation that part 10 was also going to be included as a new part to be established as part of the easement.
Okay, I have some comments here that we needed to draft our plan, an updated draft our plan. Is that something you're still requesting?
So based off the new cover letter that the applicant has submitted in the last, I believe it was on Friday or Monday yesterday, we were comfortable with what was being proposed. It was just that part 10 that we were wanting clarification on.
Okay. Did you get clarification?
We have not yet.
Okay. Is that something you need to do before you proceed?
I guess I was just wanting to know if that part 10 would be included in what was being created as part of the easement. So yes, it would be something
that you would like to have before you proceeded with the application. Did you provide that to the planning department?
No, we have not yet. So the part 10 itself can be used as it's shown on the plan, and can be used to provide the necessary reciprocal easement. But part 10 doesn't necessarily need to extend down to what is known as 3170 Hawthorne. It could, in theory, be redrawn to reduce the size of it, essentially. But in essence, part 10 could still be used as a proper legal parcel for creation of that easement.
Okay. I'd like to ask the panel if they're comfortable with the existing R plan that we've reviewed, and if that missing information would be beneficial to the committee in making a decision on this application. Ms. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we have an updated 4R plan?
I think through you, Mr. Chair. No, the R plan as we've submitted, we have not revised.
Then I think I would suggest we adjourn the application and for an updated 4R plan.
Okay.
Along with the amendments, clearly, because we were dealing with 4 applications, now we're dealing with possibly 2, one being an easy. So I think a clear indication of what's before the community.
There's a lot of moving parts in this one that haven't been resolved yet. What about you, Ms. Wright? Any comment? Okay. I would agree. Okay. So the panel is going to ask them in just a minute to adjourn this application, sign and die for you to create all those necessary plans and evidence for the planning committee to make a good decision. So are you able to get that to us in a reasonable time?
Absolutely, we would. We'd be able to produce that, I'm sure, within a week.
Is it going to be changing your request for variances?
There are no variances with this application. What it will do, I think, probably for clarity's sake, is we'll revise the R plan to reduce some of the unnecessary part numbers. We don't need to necessarily describe the retained lands, perhaps. Well, I'll speak to the surveyor and make sure that it's clear.
Okay. All right, so my suggestion is that we recirculate it once you get all the applications done, because as I said, there's going from 4 to 2 severances. And it would be best if the public knew exactly what we were proposing on this property instead of just guessing at what the potential end result would be. So to that end, I'd like to ask the panel to adjourn this application, sign and die, and have it recirculated. All those in favor? The application is adjourned. Sign and die. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Now moving on to, we have 2 unopposed applications. The first application has to do with 2847 Riverside Drive. Jasmine Paolini, are you available?
Hello, Chair, panel members.
Good afternoon. I note for the panel that there are no opposition to this application, that you have submitted a statutory declaration describing the signposting that has been on site for the required number of days. To that end, I'd like to ask the panel for approval of this application. And before I do that, I just want to ask you one more question. Sorry. Yes, are you familiar with the conditions being imposed here?
I am not.
And there aren't any. Yes, there are. So the standard conditions, and the standard condition is subject to the location and size of the proposed construction being in accordance with the plans filed. Date stamp September 22nd as they relate to the requested variances.
Okay, so I know there was a little bit of a hiccup with the plans that were circulated. There was an original site plan that was submitted and then a revised site plan with zoning compliant waste storage. Cass, I believe, commented that she would make sure that the correct plans were circulated and stamped. Maybe she can clarify if that was done, but that was the last I heard from
I
her.
think the planning service person I have on this is Siobhan Kelly.
Oh, sorry, Siobhan Kelly, yes.
Yes. Are you available, Ms. Kelly?
Mr. Chair, I can speak for Ms. Kelly. She wasn't able to make it today. She did clarify with me this morning that those plans were circulated. So it's just with the waste area being at the back of the lot. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Okay.
Okay. So to that end, I'd like the panel to vote on approving this application. All those in favor? Your application is approved. Thank you very much, Ms. Paolini.
Thank you.
Okay. So next application that is unopposed has to do with 1549 Skeena. Ewald Ziegler, are you available? Good afternoon, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Can you please state your name and your address, please?
Ewald Ziegler, EWALD ZIEGER, 657 Rathburn Lane, Ottawa.
Thank you, sir. I note for the panel that this application is unopposed. And to that end, I want to ask you, Mr. Ziegler, if you agree with the loan condition that is on this application.
What is the loan condition?
The one condition is that it is subject to the location and size of proposed construction being in accordance with the plans filed. Date stamped September 7 as they relate to the requested variances.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so to that end, I'd like to ask the panel for approval of this application with the one condition. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Your application is approved. Thank you very much, Mr. Ziegler. So the next application up for discussion is having to do with 3918 Old Richmond Road. Looking for Mr. Lawrence Cudlip. If you're come on down, please have a seat. Are you representing Mr. Cudlip or are you in exchange for Mr. Cublet?
Yeah, so I'm Blaine Morin from Hydro Ottawa. Lawrence is our consultant involved in the project, so I believe he's online as well too.
All right.
Yes, I'm here.
Good afternoon. I don't see you anywhere. Okay, I guess you're just on voice, right?
Well, I'll get my camera going in a second.
Okay. Okay. And
There we
who's your colleague with you, Mr. Moore?
My name is William Youssef. I'm the project manager with Hydro Ottawa.
Okay. At this time, can you give us a brief description? I'm not sure whether it's Mr. Cudlip or Mr. Moore or Mr. Youssef who's going to give us a brief description of your application.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore.
Yeah, so we are completing a construction project at 3918 Old Richmond Road. It's a rebuild of our Bells Corners substation. We're requesting a reduction in setback from 7.5 meters to 2.2 meters for 2 electrical buildings associated with the project. That's
okay. And what about the corner side yard? Do you have a reduction of your setback there too?
right. Yeah, the corner side yard, reducing it to 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the extent of your application?
Yep.
Okay. I note that Building Code Services has received on October 17th an outstanding order to comply with Hydro Ottawa for allowing the construction of structures without building permit. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How come you proceeded without a building permit?
Yeah, so Hydro Ottawa, we acknowledge this should have been identified at the design stage. And we apologize for that oversight.
Okay. I'd like to ask Planning Services Soleil Soyak if you're available to give us some comments with respect to this application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Planning has no concerns with the application. We recognize that they should have come for a building permit, but the reason for no concerns is the official plan on section 4.11.8 states that public facilities and municipalities are permitted in all designations of the site. Furthermore, section 91 of the zoning bylaw says that utility structures are permitted in all zones. And given that there is a fence for noise that it's required, it will be located there. Staff considered that the reduction of the yards will not have an impact.
Okay, thank you. I'd now like to ask the panel for any questions for the applicant. Ms. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's general practice to have an as-built survey plan to confirm the variances being requested. I didn't see one on the file, so I'm just wondering if there is one.
Mr. Mora?
Yeah, Lawrence.
Yeah, we will provide that. We've got an as-built drawing already prepared, so we can submit that.
It has to be done by the surveyor, though. It has to be as an OLS plan. Is that available, or?
Well, that will confer with Hydro Ottawa. We do have the as-built architectural and civil drawings, but we can have those verified by an OLS for this purpose.
And is the side yard reduction, the corner side yard, I believe that's along Longwood Avenue, is that 2.2 meter reduction, or the side yard of 2.2 meters? Is that for both buildings or just one building, or?
It's both buildings.
Both buildings are at 2.2?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, Mr. Chair, if we adjourn this until we get that confirmation, or how we want to handle it.
Okay, well, we'll get everybody else to ask their questions and then we'll see what happens after that. Ms. Wright, any questions?
Yes,
For the applicant.
to the applicant, through you, Mr. Chair. The fence, reading the plans, I didn't quite see how high it was. Do you know how high the fence is?
I'm myself not clear on it. I don't know if Lawrence or. William, if we have an exact measurement.
I don't have the exact measurement of the fence, no.
Okay, will that be obviously on the as-built site plan? That's
Yes,
wouldn't be the height?
No,
not height.
Is
it a
sound attenuation?
Yeah, and helps another question. Is it just to confirm, it is a sound attenuating fence?
Yes.
Okay, and then my next question is to forestry. I don't know if they are listening in.
Why don't we hang on till we ask
Okay.
the planning department
We can do
for
that. Sure.
Any further questions for
No.
the applicant? Okay. Mr. Barrett, any questions for the applicant?
Not this time.
Okay. Now we'll move on to asking the questions to planning, please, Ms. Wright.
Mostly to forestry, if they're listening in. I noted in the comments that we received from you was that you could not compel Hydro Ottawa to reinstate the hedge or put any planting, because obviously you're fully built out and you can't. Is there any way to compel Hydro Ottawa to reinstate some sort of soft landscaping in the right of way? Or is it just a slight request that we make?
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you for the question. So there's no way for us to require planting in the right of way here. We would be asking the applicant as part of their project to plant trees. And I believe the planner who was originally involved with the file had the discussion about whether there was interest in planting trees on the site, but there was no interest in doing so at the time. So if that's changed, that's great. Let's get in touch and talk about what opportunities are there.
Right.
So to the applicant, are you willing to plant trees in the right of way or soft landscaping of some kind?
Yeah, we can certainly review that. We have some underground duct structure in the area, which affects things. So we'd have to look at it from a design perspective. But yeah, we can certainly review it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Barrett, any questions for planning staff?
Just in planning staff, is there a chance that they could do some soft landscaping with regards to possibly softening the look of the fence? It's a hard structure or noise attenuation fence with vines or something that is more pleasing to the eye than what we're seeing? Question to staff first.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if the applicant is willing, I think it would benefit. Having some climbing vines will produce a similar effect of what the hedges were in the first place. So staff would be, I believe, favorable if there was some planting there, if the applicant is willing to.
Thank you.
Ms. McLean, anything for staff? Okay. Given the fact that you went ahead and built the buildings without a building permit, there should be I'd like to see some commitment from Hydro to see if they can soften things. It was a green space pretty much around where the fence area is right now. It'd be really nice if you would come back and say, yes, absolutely not. We'll look at it, but absolutely we'll do it. So I'd like to see that.
Understood.
Okay. All right. So I'd like to ask the public for any comments they may have. We have two people in person, I believe, Michelle Laplante and Lawrence Cudlip. You're already remote, so.
I'm part of the SEMA, the consulting engineering firm, yes.
Okay. Okay, well, there isn't anything else from the public then. So I'd like to ask the panel if they'd like to reserve on this application. And to that end, I'd like to ask for a vote, see if we could reserve this application. All those in favor? Your application is reserved. We'll give you a decision in the next 10 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The next application has to do with 158 Asper Trail. Mr. Dan Stone, are you available?
Yes, I am here.
I don't see.
Do you see me now, Mr. Chair? Hello? Hello, Mr. Chair?
Hey, Mr. Stone, I think there's some sort of issue on the committee side of things. So just sit tight and we'll see what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. No.
I didn't want to lose my spot. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you want to, you can turn off your screen for now if you want to just sit tight and you don't want to feel like you're on the spot here. I just sent a message to the coordinator, but I haven't heard anything. So it may be that they've lost internet over at Ben Franklin. Yeah. So if you want to turn off your screen and wait while you're waiting, feel free.
Thank you. Just don't let them
I won't.
Don't let them not hear me.
Oh, they're back. They're back.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, it looks like the coordinators is coming back.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so they did lose internet over at Ben Franklin, but it sounds like they're trying to put up we're experiencing technical difficulty slides, so it may be a bit.
Okay. The nice thing about our Lansdowne Park is we have sort of a nucleus of residential people in the neighborhood that would frequent those things, right?
So much more.
And we're gonna have more.
Do you want to?
No, that's great.
Okay.
We'll just go and sign everything else on back in and it should be good from there.
But these young guys know what they're doing.
Hi, everyone. If you can just bear with us. We're just logging everybody in the chambers back into the Zoom session. It will just be a couple more minutes. Sorry about that. We lost internet.
Thank you.
Thanks for your patience, Mr. Stone.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't leave me
Well, technology is
Mr.
a
Chair.
wonderful thing, but it does cause some issues sometimes. So both member Barrett and I will be sharing the same computer because we have the difficulty. There's Mr. Barrett there. And Ms. Wright and Ms. McLean will be sharing a computer as well, so that we all are here and we'll be able to listen to your application. Please proceed and give us a brief description of your application, sir.
Okay, it's Dan Stone of 1119 Dorswell Road, Manotick, Ontario. I'm the agent, and we're going to be building a unheated sunroom in the backyard. I just got the letter of a gentleman that did have some concerns in the backyard. The homeowner had talked to adjacent neighbors with no concerns. I just wish to address the concerns, if that's okay, or did you want me to?
No, that's quite all right, because I'll note for you, sir, and for the panel that the rest of the planning services and other agencies have also had no concern with your application, so.
Yes. So the gentleman, he was caught off guard, I guess, with the letter coming late, but 40 other neighbors seen the sign posted and also received the letters. He was talking about the size of the room. We did condense the size of the room to just make it 18, just over 18 square meters. The homeowners had purchased a larger lot of property. So they had purchased it, and it covers 405 square meters, whereas adjacent were 365 square meters. Also, we are under the lot coverage. Lot coverage by zoning is 55%. We're maxing out at 49%. It also is a single slope roof, which will provide privacy for the homeowner, and also that way the back neighbors will not be affected. The homeowner has also had added beautiful soft landscape and some trees. Even in the fence in the back has cedar hedges. It is one of the few, we could say, really nice backyards. And so they just want to be able to enjoy it to the full and not be affected by the bugs that we see continuing to bother us. I think that addressed all the concerns regarding safety that the gentleman asked. I don't know about safety and drainage issues. That's always taken up with the building code and with that. So we do address that at the time of the building of the sunroom.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. I'd like to ask you if you're aware of the one condition, should this application be approved. Are you aware of that condition?
That we follow what has been submitted?
Yes, that you are subject to the location and size of the proposed construction being in accordance with the plans filed, date stamped September 22nd, as they relate to the required variances.
Yes, and we will follow those, yes.
Okay, that's great. Now I'd like to ask our planning service, I'd like to ask our panel if they got any questions for Mr. Stone. Mr. Barrett? No. Ms. Wright?
No.
Ms. McLean? Nope. Okay, so no questions from panel. Now I'd like to move on to Ms. Samantha Gachin. Are you available to give some comments with respect to this application?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Yes, I have no concerns with this application as per my staff report. And I believe that the applicant has done a good job of explaining his answers to the member of the public's concerns.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask panel if they've got any questions for planning services. Ms. Wright? Ms. McLean? Mr. Barrett? No. No questions. Thank you very much. And we had one comment or one member of the public was opposed. I think Mr. Stone addressed some of his concerns. Is Mr. Jason Newberry available? No, Mr. Newberry is not available. So, Mr. Stone, just one last question from me. Is this whole yard fenced in?
Yes, except for the front, yes.
Except for but on three sides, it's fully fenced?
Yes.
And you were suggesting that there was some soft landscaping would be on three sides as well?
Yes, it already exists.
Okay. Does anybody have, how tall is the fence?
Fence is believe 6 feet, and the cedars go up above it, facing the back row of townhouses. There are townhouses behind us, which are zoned differently. And so that may have been this gentleman's concern. We asked around regarding where this gentleman lived, but we didn't get a response because we wanted to address it in person.
Sure.
And then on the sides, we have they have planted some trees, and we talked to the forestry, and they had no concerns for that.
In your opinion, can people see into that sunroom if they're on any of the budding properties?
No, not with the slope, the pitch that we had, we've addressed it because they want to also be able to sit in there for privacy. As it is now, the homeowner, the ones behind can go up on their balconies or their second door and see them seating out on their patio as it is now. So this will eliminate that. And so that's why we sloped it down to 8 feet at the top front.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So I'd like to ask the panel if they'd like to reserve this decision. All those in favor? This application will be reserved, so we'll make a decision today and we'll let you know our decision within 10 days, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. So this, I think, concludes our hearing today. Thank you, everybody, for your help, and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Thank you.